So good afternoon, everybody. I hope you had your fill of tacos and now you're just absolutely so excited and ready to learn for the rest of the afternoon. Yes? No post-lunch slump, right? Okay, we're gonna jump right in, and I'm so excited that I'm glad for this time slot, honestly, because I hope what we're about to share with you energizes you, gets you excited about what associations can do, how we can harness technology, how it's not as scary as we might think it is. And we're gonna have a little bit of fun with it along the way. because
Always fun.
because we are all in on a theme. If there was anything that Kelly and I learned about each other when we met, we were like, we're going all in on a theme. So today's theme is ASSP's Next Generation, aka a little trip through Star Trek. So, and I'm going to talk about technology and then attempt to use multiple forms of technology here. So bear with me as we go through. So thank you, Dawn, for the great introduction. Again, my name is Dawn Conroy. I've been with ASSP for about 7 years now, almost. And I'm the Vice President of Market Strategy. I oversee an amazing team, some of whom are here today and some are online, of both traditional product marketing, digital marketing, and content strategy. And it is an amazing team that we are so fortunate to have. We also work on new product development. So I lead a team, which could be a whole separate conversation called Launchpad, where we evaluate new ideas and give them new life. And so this is one of those ideas that came through there. And I'd like Kelly to introduce herself as well.
So I'm Kelly Lakas. I am the CEO of Onyx Point Systems, and I actually have a couple of team members here who flew in from Palo Alto. I have an AI scientist. He's our co-founder and our director of technology. We created Onyx Point Systems and Onyx Point AI because we saw a need for associations to have an easier way for their users, their members, to get at all that content that's in PDFs, all those journals, all those handbooks, all those magazine articles, everything is. I'm sure you all love searching your PDFs, but we make it actually fun to do that. We have an assistant, but the key is that it will tell you when it can't find something, which you'll hear about more. And it only goes off your data. And so we know that associations have gold mines of data, and we're like, this is what they need. And then we found Dawn. And so we're helping her out with that.
So I think it's important to note that Kelly and I met 1 year ago at Solutions Day, right here in this video. And this is a plug. Stay for the evening networking, have a glass of wine, because that's where I met Kelly. She was demoing to one of my coworkers on her phone the new product that they had just developed. And I literally stopped them and I said, I want that. That is what we need so desperately. This is the solution we've been looking for. So these types of things happen here. We are a real live use case of that. And so this story has taken place over the course of this year, and I can't believe that I have a real product that I'm going to show you that launched in July. We got this done in less than a year, which in association time is like light speed, right? And we're warp speeding here, right? So very, very exciting stuff. So first I'm going to show you what we deemed kind of, I don't want to say the problem, but Kelly was talking about our PDFs. We have a treasure trove of information, as she said, that's in standards, that's in technical publications, in journal articles, and in this 7-pound book. This is the Safety Professionals Handbook, real handy. It has 1,300 pages. It has 65 chapters. It was written by over 80 authors. It's an incredible resource for workplace safety professionals. This is, I don't want to use the term Bible, but like that's the closest thing I could liken this to. We have published 3 editions of this so far. It actually used to be 2 books, so I guess this was an improvement, right? We got it down to 1. But we've published many editions of this. This was the 3rd, and we launched this about 2 years ago. And technical publications, as you might know, have modest sales. Our professionals, they value this book, they buy it, they put it on a shelf with all the other books that they have about being a safety professional. Sometimes they open it and read a certain chapter, but largely this is not an interactive piece of content. It's important and amazing, and all of the authors donated their time to writing and editing these chapters, which is also incredible about our community. So we own this book outright. but it was literally sitting on people's shelves. And we knew that it was time to do something new. So Jennifer, who you met earlier this morning, and I had some conversations about, do we turn it into e-learning modules? Do we take every chapter and make a webinar? All these very traditional association, channels, right? And I told her, no, guys. I told Jennifer McNally, no, I don't think that's the right idea. It's pretty brave, right? You guys all met her this morning. I said, give me some time. Let's think about this. Let's think about a different way. And then I came to Solutions Day. I met Kelly, and that's when the light bulbs started to go off. So I want to talk a little bit about the bigger mission here. And you heard a little bit about what ASSP is all about this morning, but we were really being charged by our board. Nobody on the board looks like Captain Picard, but
that is a grave oversight. Get on that.
Exactly, right. We needed to start demonstrating progress with new technology. We needed to start taking the lead. We needed to enhance the accessibility of what we already had, and I think that that's important. We need to democratize technology. It should not, or information should not be gated, right? Everything we do was gated by at least a password and a login. So these things were kind of weighing on us. And as a marketer, I need to better understand my members' needs in real time. And that was definitely not happening because, we too had things like 24 hours to wait to get information, once someone has purchased something. So there was a lack of understanding what was really keeping safety professionals up at night. And so these types of things were the things that we were looking to solve. So we came up with a little product we'd like to call SafetyTrekr AI, which is built on Onyx Point's platform. This is our pilot program, and so we hope to add to it. And how we've marketed it is that we put the entire handbook at your fingertips. So this works on both laptop and mobile, very seamlessly, which is amazing.
So you don't have to logo the app or anything. It's just mobile ready.
No app, completely just in a web browser. And it really turned the handbook into something much more meaningful instantly, basically, which is incredibly exciting. There's a lot of other things. So if there's any marketers in the room, you want to talk about trademarking and all the other things that we had to do to get through all of these. There was a lot of hoops that we jumped through in the last year to make all this happen. So, but that is the name of our product. I want to talk a little bit too, when we talked about change and transformation and socializing this with other teams. I needed to go to our standards and technical publications teams and tell them I wanted to do this, which if any of you have teams like that in your staff, I kind of gave them my spiel as the marketing person does. And there was a little bit of a silence. And then someone broke it and said, well, how soon can we put everything else in there? Oh. So I knew I had him hooked, I did not think that was going to happen. I thought there was going to be a lot more meetings and a lot more discussions before we brought everybody around. But when you see how the technology works, it's just so seamless and it's just so obvious. So a lot of people might want to know a little bit more about how it works. And Kelly and her team are here definitely to answer more of the techie questions. Every once in a while, I get so far, but then I'm only so dangerous with this. But some of the things I wanted to just highlight, and Kelly, I want you to talk about these first couple, but the reliable citations, that's super important to safety professionals. We're talking about people's livelihoods and their safety in hazardous workplace conditions. We cannot just leave that up to chance. And the other thing that's going to appeal to people in this room is the connection via SSO. So we have Nimble AMS. This automatically knows, thank goodness for Kevin O'Dornez and his team at Todd Orsers for helping us with this year, but that it knows exactly who's supposed to have access to it based on their purchases and things like that, and different groups that we've given access to. So that has been a huge time saver as well, that we're not manually adding those people to those groups. So Kelly, you want to talk a little bit about natural language and the closed RAG?
Sure. So natural language understanding. So that NLP, natural language processing, you guys are becoming more familiar with it, right? Google now uses it a lot more for their Gemini. If you're familiar with ChatGPT or Claude, it's become a thing. It used to be attempted a thing, as I age myself, back in Ask Jeeves time. It didn't actually work. Works much better now. The technology's improved substantially. Excuse me. So we do that because then, it's like having a conversation. It is kind of like your own little GPT, but ours is custom and closed RAG model. So it's a retrieval augmented generation model. And the person who developed it is sitting right there in that second row. It is nice having a PhD in machine learning, like as our co-founder, so we can actually change things in real time and really work with them in real time. But what it does is it takes the information from the handbook and it only delivers that information on there. And that's it. So it's not publicly available. It's connected to your SSO, but we've developed it so that it will look at it and it'll tell you, hey, from these sources, here's this answer. And every single link, every single response has a link to a citation, not just the PDF, but like where in the PDF. So where in that chapter. So you don't really have to think when you do that reliable citation, you just look at it. So that's what we've developed, and we've developed to really understand technical documentation, standards, any kind of all of that information that's in journals and research papers and all those. We've developed to be able to understand that and talk that way.
Yeah, and we'll see how that works in a little bit here too. So we talked a little bit about accuracy and reliability. Here's our friend Data from StarTrekr.
Well done, good job.
Thank you. I did a lot of Googling before this. One of us is a fan, the other one's never seen an episode of the show. So
Shocker.
if we were doing like Glee or Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I would have crushed it. Okay, so next year. So yeah, the detailed answers, the side-by-side reference interface, which is just absolutely incredible. This is a game changer. This is what sets this apart from a regular GPT for sure. A thread history, which everybody's come to expect with a ChatGPT type tool now. I want to be able to go back and see what did I ask it 3 weeks ago, because I don't remember, and reference that again. And then incredibly useful applications, which this has been the part that has been so member energized, is that we demoed this at our annual meeting and they were like, can it do this? Can it do that? Can it do this math? Can it do all these things? And it can't. That's, there's some times where we type things in and we're in a demo situation and they're like, can it translate into Creole? That was a question we got at our annual meeting. It can. They were very happy with the answer that it gave. I was in a demo online with our AI task force and they asked it to do some physics math. Now I'm a marketing person, so I was sweating when I was typing this in, and it was really incredible because it did it with ease. So there's a lot of math actually in safety, and so this was all very much powered and all within, which is incredible.
I would like to note that I didn't know she ever asked that question. I didn't look at your metrics, and I'm totally impressed. We actually find new emergent things that come out of it all the time. Yeah. I remember when we were first trying it and I asked for a social media post and gave me a bunch of emojis and I'm like, oh, exactly. Look at you.
So very exciting. So one of the reasons that it was such a natural fit with Onyx Point was that this was really built with associations in mind. Certainly you could attempt to try to build something from the ground up yourself. I do not recommend it. We all wear a lot of hats already. And so entrusting the technology to a partner who knew what we were trying to do, who has another association executive on their staff to be an advisor, so who is dealing with technical documents themselves. This all gave us a level of trust. And once again, safety professionals and people who support them, we are risk averse people. So this was a big leap for us to be able to do that. So working with Kelly and her team gave us the peace of mind. And some of the things we kind of have highlighted here in terms of evaluating the difference between going with more of a public LLM versus what Onyx Point provides really was the game changer for us. I see we have a question over there.
So when the AI is pulling responses, is it just delivering direct quotations, or is it?
No, it's generating full responses. It's generating like a generative content, like a generative AI. Like if you went to your Claude and you asked it a question, it pulls that and it generates a response. So no, it's training. It's not really training. I'm not getting too many details because my PhD will be mad at me. That's why I have a command jacket on. So what it does is it processes that information. It uses the LLM to return the responses and generate that content. And then underneath each generated piece of content, there's a little link, it just says 1, 2, 3, that goes to each citation. And then that brings you to the actual response, the area in that document that has generated, that contributed to making that response. So it uses all of the sort of, if you're familiar with ChatGPT or if you're familiar with Claude, when it provides that information, it creates all that stuff. You create a social media post, it creates what do you call those
Trans-
briefing things?
Oh, like a checklist or,
Yeah.
procedurals, things like that.
Yeah, or a lesson plan or anything, but everything on there, and it shows where each piece came from, so that you can immediately look and say, oh, this is right. And it also has the benefit of making it hallucination resistant, so you don't get as much of the I don't know, I think we talk about that.
Oh, like Canva templates that
Yes, the
exist
Canva
and
templates, like
false links and legal cases that don't exist. Those types of things that you run into, pitfalls of using an open.
so we had it. Our favorite case is that everybody in ASSP continues to ask our tool about Julia Roberts.
Yeah, who is Julia Roberts? The book does not know.
And it tells you the sources don't know who Julia Roberts is. You might want to go look somewhere else. She might be an actress, something like that. But the sources don't have that information. So it's not going to answer. We've also gotten Batman's Garden now in our demo one, which is a really good one.
Big nationwide, tons of content. And they were
I want to meet your friend.
found out when you put the AI system on top of the database, it didn't know how to talk.
Mhm.
So it was pulling answers from all of the content, but since it was in a RAD closed environment, the AI didn't know English. It was just spitting out gibberish factoids because it wasn't trained on the rest of the internet to know how to speak.
Right. So we're not actually training a model. It's not a custom model. We're not creating a model because other people who have a lot more money and a lot more resources have created really good models. But ours is very, very private. It's very specific. We do not share that actual data with the LLM that we're using. We just have this custom RAG model that pulls all that information, process it. We actually have some semantic analysis on our prompts. So like if somebody comes in and they're like, the first thing everybody asks for when you have a research tool is, have you found the papers by me? What papers did I write? And I don't know if you know this, but LLMs don't really know what's in the content. They just they don't understand an author is an author, right? They just see the piece of content. So we've added semantic analysis. So we do speak English, and we do actually understand that somebody, this guy wants vanity search. Got it. So.
Yeah, good point.
Again, oh wait, if you want to go back, I think we need to bring up, there was a recent study that Gemini that you use, your ChatGPT, your Claude, 40% of that data is coming from Reddit. So even if you have you're paying for a private GPT, 40% of your answers are coming from a bunch of people in a chat room on Reddit. I mean, not chat room, I'm old, and 26% of it's coming from Wikipedia. And she's like, oh God, no. So it's kind of the thing that we're changing that because we can actually use the LLM power with the association data to provide that information back.
Exactly. Yeah, good point, Kelly. Thank you. So this was what I hinted at earlier, that in September 2024, this is when this concept kind of came to be, and we have moved at association warp speed in the last year, kicking down a lot of barriers and officially getting this project kicked off in January of 2025, with beta testing happening in the spring, with the goal that we wanted to announce it publicly at our annual meeting in July, which we were able to do. So I was able to give a tech talk, and we were able to do demos at our the conference booth and get people excited about it and trying it and get it out there. So that was an incredible feat, but it was also because we right-sized the technology to the solution and that we were not trying to start with the kitchen sink. I think that was super important. Yes, we could have put into my team's, question, could we put everything in from the start? Yes, but I think that would have devalued the overall and it would have diluted the message. And we needed to start with what we knew would work right out of the gate. So right now we're fully rolled out, and we are in data analysis mode. I think that's a really important takeaway from this too, is you need to spend some time seeing what's coming in and what people are asking it, which we can see all of that in a dashboard, which is another great feature of Onyx Point's product, is all of that real-time data. So I can see how many citations, how many questions, all of those things in real time. So speaking of that, we've had over 900 sessions, 2,700 citations since we launched, and people are asking it all kinds of things, but things that we're looking at is, oh, there's a lot of people talking about construction safety, permit to work, risk reduction, and fall from heights. Fall from heights doesn't surprise us, but it does help confirm some of our hypotheses that these are things that are important to our members. People have logged over 78 hours in the tool already, which is incredible. And we've seen a 4x spike in handbook sales since we launched this, because the access to the tool is tied to the purchase of the handbook. That was one of the compromises we made as a team. So cannot just buy the tool outright. You need to also own a copy. You can take one of these home, or you can get the PDF version. But some people still really like that physical book. So some really good, encouraging first numbers. So some of the takeaways from this project. Like I said, right size the solution to your problem. Don't feel like you need to solve everything out of the gate. AI is big and scary and might still be sort of a trigger word for people in your organization. So start small and show them something that can actually work. Ask, how can your organization be an industry trusted source? That's something that we take, that's a pillar of ASSP, is being a trusted source to safety professionals. This information matters. People's lives are at stake in their jobs. And so we need to deliver accurate, timely information. Go ahead and create something that's very targeted, a pilot. Go ahead and fail fast. If Jennifer was still here, she would say, yes, go ahead and try, because you're going to learn from that. And each of you has the opportunity to be the tipping point for change in your organization. This is something Kelly and I've talked a lot about, is that it doesn't have to be the marketing person or the product person. It can come from anywhere. So feel empowered to do that. I'm proof of that. We've got a lot of team members here who can talk about how they've played a role in this as well. And, go ahead and ask those questions. Things are only impossible until they are not. Again, another Star Trek quote. So it would be remiss if I did not show you a brief demo, and I can show you more afterwards. Kelly can show you more as well of what this looks like. We're in the, I don't know, this is like mission control here.
It's the bridge. It's the bridge.
Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Oh. It was very funny when she was like, hey, should I have yellow or should I have red? And
yes, we're all on this. So I'm logged into the tool right now, which that's showing up there. And it looks a lot like a ChatGPT type of model. So we've got on the left, oh no. Okay, here we go. On the left-hand side, thank you. Just your presence is enough to make it work.
Walk away, Kevin.
Shout out to Kevin, who has been interim CIO for ASSP this past summer, and we really appreciate him. So
we have to share the online folks, I think.
oh, we have. Come on in and
Can you see it, David, online?
Can you see? Okay, we'll do the share.
Oh, okay. You can see it?
Yeah, because it says right there, you are screen sharing.
Okay. Hopefully it's the right one. We want to make sure for our Zoom folks at home, we want and they can see it as well. There we go. There we go. Okay. We do not want to leave them out. Okay, thank you. All right. We got at least one going here. So left-hand side is what you would typically see in a ChatGPT type of environment, which I think a lot of us have played around with at this point. We've got a thread history here, so different questions that have been asked in the past. And then we just have our prompt area. So I can ask it anything, give me the steps to a hazard analysis post-event. Something I'm not a safety professional, nor do I play one on television, but I can ask some safety questions that might be. So this is one that's going to tell you, does not have a step-by-step guide, but it's going to give you the basics of what it can pull from the handbook. So it's writing this in real time. And then here on your right-hand side are all of the citations from this conversation. So I can go ahead and click on any of these links, and it's going to go ahead and bring up the exact chapter and the exact passage that it's referencing, which is absolutely a game changer for our members. So then they don't have to read all the chapters, they can go straight to what they're looking for. I think what's important here, and this will be the last thing I leave you with, is you might think if you have a fall protection issue, you need to go to the fall protection chapter. when you ask this GPT these questions, it will actually reference probably about 5 or 6 other chapters that have important, pertinent information to that issue that you might not have thought of. And so it's an incredibly helpful tool for our members, and we're so excited about, the continued adoption of this. So Kelly and I will be available later to answer any additional questions or show you a demo on our phones. But we hope you're excited about, seeing some of this stuff actually happening in real time and, being applicable in the real world, and our members are actually using it. So thank you so much, and have a great rest of the day.